Mystery plagues that vanish as quickly as they appear. Ghost ships found sailing with no crew. People who step out of a plane mid-flight and into legend. These are the stories that defy explanation. The puzzles that have stumped investigators and fascinated the public for decades, even centuries. Today, we're diving deep into the historical fog to uncover the most insane, mind-blowing, and utterly baffling unsolved mysteries of all time. Get ready, because the truth is often stranger than fiction. On December 5th, 1872, the vast, unforgiving Atlantic stretched endlessly before the British brigantine, Dei Grazia. The day was clear, the sailing smooth. But then, something caught the crew's eyes. A ghostly vessel, drifting aimlessly for 100 nautical miles east of the Azores. Its sails were askew, its path erratic. It was a ship without a master. The ship was the Mary Celeste. It had set sail from New York a month earlier, on November 7th, destined for Genoa, Italy. On board was its highly respected captain, Benjamin Spooner Briggs, his wife Sarah, their 2-year-old daughter Sophia, and 7 experienced crew members. They were carrying a cargo of 1,701 barrels of industrial-grade, denatured alcohol. Yet, in an event that would become the world's most famous maritime mystery, none of the 10 souls aboard would ever be seen again. The captain of the Dei Grazia, David Morehouse, was shocked. He actually knew Captain Briggs personally and knew him to be a capable and sober seaman. Sensing something was terribly wrong, Morehouse ordered a boarding party to investigate. What they found would baffle the world. The Mary Celeste was not a wreck. It was eerily intact. There are no signs of a struggle, no chaos, no damage from a pirate attack. The crew's personal belongings, including their money and valuables, were untouched. In the captain's cabin, everything was in order, save for a few papers. The ship's cargo was mostly secure, with only 9 barrels found empty. Instead of chaos, the ship carried only an unnerving silence. The last entry on the ship's daily log was at 5 a.m. on November 25th. This meant the Mary Celeste had been floating aimlessly, a ghost on the waves, for almost 10 days. Remarkably, it still had 6 months' worth of food and water in good condition. The sailors did find 2 crucial clues. The ship's single lifeboat was missing, and one of its 2 water pumps had been disassembled on the deck. A quick search of the hold revealed the ship had taken on about 3.5 feet of water, a manageable amount for a vessel of its size. Despite this, the Mary Celeste was perfectly seaworthy. In fact, the ship's abandonment was so perplexing that when the Dei Grazia's crew sailed it to Gibraltar to claim payment for salvaging the ship, suspicion immediately fell on them. The Attorney General launched an investigation, convinced they must have played a sinister role in the disappearance of the crew, perhaps murdering them for the salvage money. They were eventually cleared, but the mystery only deepened. So what happened? One leading theory suggests a technical panic. The cargo of industrial alcohol was volatile. Perhaps some of the barrels leaked, creating alcohol fumes in the hold. Fearing an imminent explosion, and with a faulty chronometer and a broken pump leading him to believe the ship was in more danger than it was, Captain Briggs may have ordered everyone into the lifeboat. He might have tied a line to the Mary Celeste, intending to wait at a safe distance for the danger to pass. But if the line snapped and a sudden squall blew up, their small lifeboat would have been at the mercy of the vast Atlantic, while their perfectly good ship sailed on without them. It's a plausible theory, but with no bodies and no lifeboat ever found, the Mary Celeste remains the ultimate ghost ship. In the year 1901, a group of Greek sponge divers taking shelter from a storm near the island of Antikythera discovered an ancient Roman shipwreck. Amongst the scattered marble statues and pottery, they recovered a lump of corroded bronze and wood. It was initially dismissed as just another piece of debris, perhaps part of a statue. But this unassuming lump held a secret that would rewrite the history of technology. This was the Antikythera Mechanism. It's believed to be the creation of ancient Greeks around 100 BC. So why is it so shocking that a civilization renowned for advancing geometry, mathematics, and astronomy could create it? Because the Antikythera Mechanism is breathtakingly far ahead of its time. It is essentially the world's first known analog computer. For decades, the corroded artifact sat in a museum, its true nature hidden. It wasn't until the 1970s and later in the early 2000s with advanced X-ray and 3D imaging that scientists were able to peer inside. They were stunned. They found a complex system of at least 30 interlocking bronze gear wheels. The technology required to create such a device wouldn't be seen again in Europe for over 1,000 years. Its closest relatives are the intricate medieval cathedral clocks built in the 14th century. The device featured a large dial on the front to track the position of the sun and the moon through the Zodiac, and another display for lunar phases. On the back, 2 large dials tracked complex astronomical cycles, including the Saros cycle used to predict eclipses. It even used incredibly sophisticated technology like epicyclic or planetary gearing, the same principle used in modern car transmissions, to accurately model the subtle variations in the moon's orbit. Inscriptions on the device confirmed its Greek origin, and one dial was tuned to a 4-year cycle, keeping track of the Panhellenic Games, including the ancient Olympics. Some historians suspect the inventor might have been the legendary Archimedes, the ancient Greek equivalent of Neil deGrasse Tyson. This machine is mysterious not only for the technology used to build it, but for the depth of astronomical knowledge it required. It suggests the ancient Greeks understood the cosmos in a far more complex, mathematical way than we ever imagined. The biggest puzzle of all? Why is it the only one? If the Greeks possessed this level of mechanical engineering, where are the other devices? Was this a singular stroke of genius? Or is there a whole chapter of technological history lost to the depths of the sea? In the remote and rocky Outer Hebrides of Western Scotland lies a small, uninhabited island called Amelia Earhart. In 1899, a lighthouse was built there to guide ships through the treacherous waters. It was a thankless, isolating job for the 4 keepers assigned to it. Only 3 men would be on the island at any given time, working in rotation, while the 4th took a well-deserved shore leave. On December 26, 1900, the relief vessel Hesperus arrived at the island, but something was wrong. No one came out to greet them. The lighthouse was dark, and the flagpole was bare. The ship's captain sounded his horn and fired a flare, but there was no response. A dreadful silence hung over the island. The relief keeper, Joseph Moore, was sent ashore to investigate. What he found was a scene of eerie abandonment. Inside the lighthouse, the clock had stopped. A meal of meat and potatoes lay half-eaten on the kitchen table. An armchair was overturned. Crucially, 2 of the 3 oilskin coats belonging to the keepers were missing, suggesting one man had rushed out into the elements without his. The 3 keepers, James Duckett, Thomas Marshall, and Donald MacArthur, had vanished. The last entry in the logbook was for December 15th, 9 days earlier. It contained bizarre notes. On December 12th, the principal keeper, Thomas Marshall, wrote of a severe storm with winds the likes of which I have never seen before. He also noted that James Duckett was very quiet, and the 3rd keeper, Donald MacArthur, a famously tough and seasoned mariner, had been crying. This was unheard of. Another entry on the 13th said the storm was still raging and the men were praying. But here's the problem. There were no reported storms in the area between December 12th and 14th. The weather was calm. How could 3 experienced men disappear from a locked lighthouse on a tiny island? Foul play was dismissed. A crime would have left a body, and it seemed impossible for them to have disposed of each other's bodies in the rough seas. The prevailing theory is that they were taken by the sea itself. The island was known for being hit by monstrous rogue waves. The theory goes that on the afternoon of the 15th, two of the men, Duckett and Marshall, went down to the western landing to secure a supply crate that had been dislodged by the recent and perhaps localized storm. A massive wave unexpectedly crashed over the cliff, sweeping them into the churning sea. The third keeper, MacArthur, seeing this from the lighthouse, ran out to help without grabbing his coat, only to be taken by the next wave. The evidence of the storm's power was all over the island. A supply box stored on a ledge 110 feet above sea level had been smashed open, its contents strewn about. Iron railings were bent and twisted. A huge block of stone weighing over a ton had been dislodged. A wave of that magnitude could easily have plucked 3 men from the cliffside. Still, with no bodies ever recovered, the mystery of the Flanan Isles lighthouse keepers endures as a chilling tale of the sea's awesome power. Amelia Earhart was more than just a pilot. She was a global icon. In an era when aviation was a man's world, she shattered records and became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean. Her courage and charisma captivated the world. In 1937, she embarked on her most daring challenge yet, to become the first woman to circumnavigate the globe. With her navigator, Fred Noonan, Earhart would pilot a twin-engine Lockheed Electra on a grueling 29,000-mile journey. By July 2nd, they were on the home stretch. They had already traveled 22,000 miles, taking off from New Guinea for one of their final refueling stops. Howland Island, a tiny flat speck of land in the vast Pacific Ocean, just 2 square miles in size. It was a perilous 2,500-mile flight over open water. As Earhart and Noonan neared their destination, radio communications became sporadic. The U.S. Coast Guard cutter Itasca was waiting at Howland Island to guide them in. They could hear her transmissions, but she couldn't seem to hear theirs clearly. Her final, haunting message was received at 8:43 a.m. "We are on the line 157-337. We are running on line north and south." Then silence. The pair never reached Howland Island. They were never heard from again. What followed was the largest and most expensive search and rescue mission in U.S. naval history at the time. For weeks, ships and planes scoured 250,000 square miles of the Pacific, desperately seeking any trace of Earhart and her plane. But they found nothing. On January 5th, 1939, Amelia Earhart was officially declared dead. The official theory is that due to overcast weather and difficulty with radio navigation, they missed Howland Island, ran out of fuel, and crashed into the ocean. But other theories persist. One compelling hypothesis, known as the Gardner Island theory, suggests they may have made an emergency landing on what is now Nakamoto, an uninhabited atoll about 400 miles southeast of Howland. Expeditions to the island have found artifacts from the 1930s, including remnants of a woman's shoe, a jar of freckle cream, and a sextant box. Some believe they survived for a time as castaways before succumbing to the elements. A more sensational theory alleges that Earhart was secretly a U.S. spy sent to photograph Japanese military installations in the Pacific. In this version of the story, she was captured by the Japanese and either executed or died in captivity. Though largely dismissed by historians, blurry photographs and anecdotal accounts continue to fuel this narrative. To this day, the fate of the world's most famous female aviator remains one of aviation's greatest unsolved mysteries. On the day before Thanksgiving, November 24th, 1971, a man in a dark suit, white shirt, and black tie, calling himself Dan Cooper, boarded Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 from Portland to Seattle. He was quiet and unassuming. After the plane took off, he calmly lit a cigarette. The 70s were a very different time, and handed a note to a flight attendant. Thinking it was just his phone number, she slipped it into her pocket. He leaned closer and said, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." The note was clear. The man, who would soon become immortalized by the press as D.B. Cooper, demanded $200,000 in unmarked $20 bills for parachutes and a fuel truck standing by in Seattle. The pilot relayed the demands, and for the next few hours, the plane circled Puget Sound as authorities on the ground scrambled to meet them. When the plane finally landed at Seattle-Tacoma Airport, Cooper's demands were met. He collected his ransom and the parachutes, and in exchange, released all 36 passengers and 2 of the crew members. His next demand was a flight to Mexico City, with specific instructions. The plane was to fly below 10,000 feet, with the landing gear down and the cabin unpressurized. Shortly after takeoff, somewhere between Seattle and Reno, Cooper had other plans. He ordered the remaining crew into the cockpit. Then he lowered the plane's rear air stairs, and in the freezing, rainy darkness of the Pacific Northwest night, he strapped on a parachute and leaped out into history, with a fortune in cash strapped to his body. He was never seen again. The FBI launched one of the most extensive and longest-running investigations in its history, the Zodiac case. They interviewed over 800 suspects, but the description of a white man in his mid-40s with dark hair was too generic to be of much help. One of the strongest suspects was Richard McCoy Jr., a Vietnam veteran who, just 5 months later, pulled off a nearly identical hijacking for $500,000. McCoy was caught, but always denied being Cooper, and key details like their physical descriptions didn't quite match. Many believe Cooper couldn't have survived the jump. He leaped into a thunderstorm over a heavily forested, mountainous region at night, wearing only a business suit. The parachutes he was given were not designed for a high-speed bailout. But then, in 1980, a young boy named Brian Ingram was building a campfire on the banks of the Columbia River when he found a rotting packet of cash. The FBI confirmed the serial numbers matched the money given to D.B. Cooper. The discovery of $5,800 raised more questions than answers. If Cooper survived, why would he leave part of his loot behind? If he died, why was the rest of the money and his body never found? In 2016, the FBI officially suspended the active investigation, leaving D.B. Cooper as America's only unsolved case of air piracy. Before we continue to the top 10 unsolved mysteries, which of these stories would you like us to share more details about? Drop them in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you will be informed when your video request is ready. Deep in the Nevada desert, there's a place that doesn't officially exist on most maps. A place of armed guards, motion sensors, and warning signs authorizing the use of deadly force. It's a place that has become synonymous with government secrecy, UFOs, and alien conspiracies. This is Area 51. For decades, the U.S. government refused to even acknowledge its existence. The mystery began to explode into popular culture in the late 1980s, when a man named Robert Lazar gave an explosive interview, claiming he had worked at a facility near Area 51 to reverse engineer captured alien spacecraft. His detailed descriptions of alien technology and government cover-ups captivated the public. However, Lazar's credibility was later called into question when it was discovered he had fabricated much of his educational and professional background. Despite this, the rumors refused to die down. One of the most persistent claims is that the wreckage from the infamous 1947 Roswell incident, a supposed UFO crash, was secretly transported to the base for study, along with alien bodies. The government's intense secrecy only fueled these wild speculations. It wasn't until 2013 Freedom of Information Act request that the CIA officially acknowledged the existence of Area 51 for the first time. Declassified documents revealed its true purpose, at least in part. It was a top-secret flight testing facility. During the Cold War, it was the development and testing ground for revolutionary aircraft like the U-2 spy plane and the F-117 Nighthawk stealth fighter. Many of the UFO sightings reported in the area over the years were likely just test flights of these highly advanced, unconventional aircraft. But does that explain everything? To this day, the base is one of the most heavily guarded places on Earth. The airspace above, it is a no-fly zone. The military emphasizes that it has good reason for keeping its activities secret, reasons that have everything to do with national security and nothing to do with little green men. But for UFO believers and conspiracy theorists, the official explanation is just another smokescreen, hiding a reality that is truly out of this world. Around 3,000 years ago, the world was a thriving, interconnected place. The Late Bronze Age was a golden era of powerful empires. The Egyptians were building magnificent temples along the Nile. The Hittites reigned in what is now Turkey, and the Mycenaeans dominated Greece. It was a world of bustling trade routes, remarkable art, and written language. And then, around 1177 BC, it all came crashing down. In the span of a single generation, these magnificent, glorious civilizations collapsed. Great cities were burned to the ground. Entire populations were wiped out. Trade routes vanished. Literacy was lost for centuries. This mysterious and catastrophic event is known as the Bronze Age collapse. How did so many advanced civilizations in different parts of the world fall at the same time? Ancient texts from the era blame a mysterious group of invaders they called the Sea Peoples. No one is sure where these people came from, only that they arrived by ship and laid waste to city after city. An inscription from the Egyptian pharaoh Ramesses III describes them as a fearsome confederation that made conspiracy in their islands. No land could stand before their arms. They weren't just a raiding army. They were a migrating horde, bringing their women and children with them in ox carts, suggesting they too were displaced and desperate. But could one group of invaders, no matter how powerful, topple an entire world order? Modern historians believe the collapse was caused by a perfect storm of calamities. Recent climate research has revealed that this period was one of the driest in history. A megadrought, lasting for decades, would have caused widespread famine, crippling these agriculture-based societies. This would have led to mass migrations, internal rebellions, and the breakdown of trade networks. Add earthquakes and disease to the mix, and you have a recipe for total societal collapse. The Sea Peoples may not have been the cause, but rather a symptom: desperate refugees and opportunistic pirates preying on already weakened empires. It was a dark age that plunged the Mediterranean world into chaos for centuries, and serves as a chilling reminder that even the mightiest civilizations can vanish into dust. It's often called the most mysterious book in the world, housed in Yale University's rare book library. The Voynich Manuscript is a 240-page medieval codex filled with bizarre illustrations and written entirely in a language or code that no one on Earth can understand. Radiocarbon dating has placed its creation in the early 15th century. The manuscript is filled with colorful, hand-drawn illustrations that seem to hint at its contents. There are sections with detailed drawings of unidentifiable plants, earning it the name, the herbal section. There are astronomical charts with zodiac signs and celestial bodies. And, most strangely, there are pages filled with drawings of naked women bathing in elaborate networks of green liquid-filled tubes and pools. is an incredibly random assortment of topics. The real mystery is the text. It's written in an elegant, flowing script composed of an alphabet that appears nowhere else. For over a century, the world's best cryptographers, linguists, and even AI programs have tried to crack it, and all have failed. During World War II, top codebreakers who had successfully deciphered enemy communications were humbled by the manuscript. What could it be? Some scholars have theorized that it's written in a secret code. But for what purpose? Why would a book about plants and bathing ladies need to be so heavily encrypted? Others believe it might be a glossolalia, a form of speaking in tongues written down, perhaps by a religious mystic. A more mundane theory is that it's simply an elaborate hoax, created by a clever forger to sell to a wealthy patron. But the text follows certain linguistic patterns, known as Zipf's law, which are found in real languages, making a simple hoax unlikely. The manuscript gets its name from Wilfred Voynich, a rare book dealer who acquired it in 1912. Its history before that is murky, but it's believed to have been owned by Holy Roman Emperor Rudolph II, a well-known collector of curiosities. To this day, the Voynich Manuscript remains a complete enigma, a book that we can see but cannot read. Long before the age of modern terrorism, an event occurred that shook the financial heart of America to its core. On September 16, 1920, at the height of the lunch hour, a horse-drawn cart trotted down Wall Street and stopped in front of the J.P. Morgan and Company building, the most powerful bank in the world. The driver climbed down and calmly disappeared into the bustling crowd. Moments later, at 12:01 p.m., a deafening explosion ripped through the street. The cart had been packed with 100 pounds of dynamite and 500 pounds of heavy, cast-iron window weights, designed to act as shrapnel. The blast was devastating. It instantly killed over 30 people and injured hundreds more. The scene was one of carnage and chaos, a war zone in the heart of peacetime New York. The very next day, in a show of defiance, Wall Street cleaned up the debris, threw tarps over the shattered windows, and got back to work. But the burning question remained: who was behind this heinous act? The investigation, led by the precursor to the FBI, was massive, but they had precious few clues. The attack was brilliantly anonymous. The bomb was made from ordinary, easily accessible materials. The horse and cart were untraceable. The Bureau's only real lead was a series of flyers found in a nearby mailbox just before the explosion. They read, "Remember, we will not tolerate any more. Free the political prisoners, or we'll be sure death for all of you." They were signed, the American Anarchist Fighters. Suspicion fell on a group of Italian anarchists led by Luigi Galliani, who advocated for violence against capitalists. Members of his group had been responsible for a series of mail bombings the previous year. But the prime suspect, Galliani, had already been deported to Italy, and despite years of investigation, the police could never definitively link any individual to the crime. No one was ever charged for the Wall Street bombing. It remains one of America's deadliest and most perplexing acts of domestic terrorism. In the late 1960s, a shadow fell over Northern California. A killer who played a twisted game with the police and the press. A man who gave himself a name and a symbol, terrorizing the San Francisco Bay Area. He called himself the Zodiac. His spree is officially linked to 5 murders, though in his own taunting letters, he claimed to be responsible for as many as 37. His method was chillingly simple. He targeted young couples in isolated, romantic spots, attacking them under the cover of darkness. On August 1st, 1969, the killer broke his silence. He sent letters to 3 different newspapers, confessing to his crimes in chilling detail. To prove he was the killer, he included facts that only the police knew, and he included a challenge: a 408-symbol cryptogram, which he claimed would reveal his identity. He demanded the newspapers print his cipher on the front page, or he would go on a kill rampage. A week later, a schoolteacher and his wife cracked the code. Its message was haunting. "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all." This was just the beginning of his terrifying correspondence. He sent more letters and more ciphers, including the infamous Z340 cipher, which remained unsolved for 51 years until a team of amateur codebreakers finally cracked it in 2020. Its message was just as disturbing, but it did not reveal his name. Despite 2 survivors who gave detailed descriptions, police sketches, and a massive investigation, the Zodiac killer was never caught. The prime suspect for many years was a man named Arthur Lee Allen, a convicted child molester who owned a watch with the Zodiac brand name and the same boot size as a print found at a crime scene. But handwriting samples didn't match, and DNA evidence from the letters later cleared him. The case remains officially open in several jurisdictions, a chilling testament to a killer who outsmarted everyone and vanished into thin air. On the morning of January 15th, 1947, a woman walking with her young daughter in a Los Angeles neighborhood made a gruesome discovery in a vacant lot. At first, she thought it was a discarded mannequin, but as she got closer, the horrifying reality set in. It was the body of a young woman, severed in half at the waist, her body drained of blood and posed in a grotesque manner. The victim was quickly identified as Elizabeth Short, a 22-year-old aspiring actress. The press, in a nod to a recent film noir, nicknamed her the Black Dahlia. The brutality of the murder shocked the nation. An autopsy revealed she had been tortured for days before her death. The killer had a chilling precision, making cuts on her body that suggested they had medical or surgical knowledge. The investigation became a media circus. The LAPD was overwhelmed with tips and false confessions. Then, the killer began to taunt them. A package was sent to the Los Angeles Examiner, containing Short's social security card, birth certificate, and an address book with the name Mark Hansen embossed on the cover. Hansen, a local nightclub owner and acquaintance of Short, became a prime suspect. Another serious suspect was George Hodel, a prominent Los Angeles physician. The police bugged his home and recorded him saying, "Supposing I did kill the Black Dahlia. They can't prove it now. They can't talk to my secretary anymore because she's dead." Hodel was also accused of horrific crimes by his own daughter. Many investigators, including Hodel's own son, a retired LAPD detective, are convinced he was the killer. Despite a massive investigation and dozens of suspects over the years, no one was ever charged with the murder of Elizabeth Short. Many believe the LAPD, which was notoriously corrupt at the time, may have bungled the investigation or even covered up for a powerful killer. The Black Dahlia case has become one of Hollywood's most infamous and tragic unsolved mysteries. Life in medieval and Tudor England was a perilous affair, but beyond the well-known horrors of the bubonic plague, another, more mysterious disease terrorized the population in the 15th and 16th centuries. It was known as the English sweating sickness, and to this day, no one knows exactly what it was. The disease appeared suddenly in 1485. Its onset was terrifyingly swift. A person could be perfectly healthy in the morning and dead by nightfall. The symptoms began with a sense of apprehension and cold shivers, followed by violent headaches and body pains. Then came the sweating stage. Patients would be drenched in a foul-smelling sweat, become delirious, and develop a rapid heart rate. The urge to sleep was overwhelming, but if a patient fell asleep, they often never woke up. The fatality rate was incredibly high, and most deaths occurred within 24 hours of the first symptoms. What was so strange about the sweat was its pattern. It appeared in 5 terrifying outbreaks between 1485 and 1551, always in the summer, and then would vanish for years. Even stranger, it seemed to primarily target wealthier, healthier young men, while leaving the poor and elderly relatively untouched. It was an English disease. It rarely spread to the European mainland, even when English travelers went there. Then, after its final outbreak in 1551, it disappeared forever. What was it? Doctors at the time were baffled. Modern scientists have theorized it could have been a type of hantavirus, a rare disease spread by rodents. This could explain why it affected the wealthy, who lived in larger homes with more stored grain and food, attracting more rats. But without any physical evidence, it's impossible to know for sure. The English sweating sickness remains a terrifying medical mystery, a phantom plague that vanished as mysteriously as it arrived. Etched into the arid coastal plains of southern Peru are some of the most enigmatic and awe-inspiring creations of the ancient world. They're the Nazca lines. For over 200 miles, the desert floor is covered with enormous geoglyphs, intricate designs of animals, plants, and geometric shapes. There's a spider, a hummingbird, a monkey, and even a strange, humanoid figure that some call the astronaut. These incredible designs were created between 500 BC and 500 AD by the Nazca people. They made them by removing the reddish-brown, iron oxide-coated pebbles on the desert surface to reveal the lighter-colored ground underneath. Some of the straight lines run for up to 30 miles with incredible precision. The animal figures, known as biomorphs, can be massive, with some stretching over 1,200 feet long, larger than the Empire State Building is tall. Here is the central mystery. These massive designs are almost invisible from the ground. Their true scale and breathtaking detail can only be appreciated from high in the air. It wasn't until the 1930s, when commercial airplanes began flying over the area, that the world was even aware of their existence. How did the Nazca people create such massive, precise figures without being able to see them from above? And more importantly, why? Who were they for? Theories abound. Some researchers believe they are astronomical in nature, an enormous celestial calendar meant to align with constellations and track the solstices. Others suggest they had a ritualistic purpose, perhaps as ceremonial pathways for religious processions, or as offerings to mountain gods to bring rain to the arid landscape. And then, of course, there are the fringe theories. The astronaut figure has led some to speculate that the lines were created as giant welcome mats or landing strips for extraterrestrial visitors. While archaeologists dismiss this, the question remains, why create a masterpiece that you yourself can never fully see? The Nazca lines remain a silent, beautiful testament to a mystery we may never solve. In 2008, as the global financial system was on the brink of collapse, a white paper was published online by a person or group using the name Satoshi Nakamoto. The paper was titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. It laid the blueprint for a revolutionary new technology, a decentralized digital currency that could be sent directly between users without the need for a bank. This was the birth of Bitcoin and the beginning of the cryptocurrency revolution. Bitcoin skyrocketed in value, creating a multi-billion-dollar industry and making its early adopters fortunes. But through it all, one central mystery has remained. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? Satoshi Nakamoto is a pseudonym. For several years, this mysterious figure was active online, communicating with other developers via emails and forums to refine the Bitcoin code. Then, in 2011, he sent his final message, stating he had moved on to other things. He then vanished, leaving behind a technology that would change the world. The search for Satoshi has become a modern-day treasure hunt, Many have been suspected. In 2014, Newsweek claimed to have found him, a Japanese-American physicist named Dorian Nakamoto. Dorian vehemently denied any involvement. Other candidates include computer scientist Nick Szabo, who had created a similar bit-gold concept years earlier, and Hal Finney, the first person to ever receive a Bitcoin transaction from Satoshi, who passed away in 2014. One Australian computer scientist, Craig Wright, has repeatedly claimed to be Satoshi, but has failed to provide definitive proof and was even ruled by a UK court in 2024 to not be the creator of Bitcoin. It's believed that Satoshi Nakamoto personally mined around 1.1 million Bitcoins in the early days. At Bitcoin's peak value, this would make him one of the wealthiest people on the planet. Yet, that massive fortune has never been touched. The creator of the world's most famous cryptocurrency remains a complete ghost. Is Satoshi one person or a group? Are they still alive? We may never know the true identity of the person who gave the world Bitcoin. On the clear, moonless night of March 13th, 1997, something extraordinary happened over the skies of Arizona. It began around 7:30 p.m. and lasted for several hours. Thousands upon thousands of people across a 300-mile corridor from the Nevada border through Phoenix and down to Tucson witnessed a series of strange lights in the sky. It would become one of the largest mass UFO sightings in history, the Phoenix Lights. There were two distinct events. The first was a massive, V-shaped object, described as being the size of multiple football fields, that moved silently and slowly across the sky. Witnesses said it was so large it blocked out the stars behind it. It had 5 distinct lights on its leading edge. An hour or two later, a second set of lights appeared, a series of stationary, amber-colored orbs that hung in the sky over the Sierra Estrella mountain range. This wasn't just a few isolated reports. An estimated 10% of the state's population saw the phenomenon. The witnesses included doctors, lawyers, pilots, and even the then governor of Arizona, Fife Symington. He initially mocked the incident at a press conference, but a decade later, he came forward and admitted he too had seen the V-shaped craft, describing it as otherworldly. Actor Kurt Russell was also a witness. He was flying his private plane into Phoenix and was one of the first to report the strange lights to air traffic control. So what did all these people see? The official explanation from the military came swiftly. They claimed the second event, the stationary orbs, was simply a series of high-altitude flares dropped by 10 Warthog aircraft on a training exercise at a nearby bombing range. Many witnesses, however, dispute this, insisting that what they saw was stationary for a long time and did not drift down like flares would. But the military had no explanation for the first event, the massive, silent, V-shaped craft. To this day, it remains officially unidentified. Was it a top-secret military aircraft, a blimp, or a formation of conventional planes flying so perfectly that they appeared to be a single object? Or was it, as thousands of witnesses believe, something not of this earth? The Phoenix Lights remain one of the most compelling, widely witnessed, and deeply mysterious UFO events of all time. From the depths of the ocean to the vastness of space, and from the ancient world to our own digital age, these mysteries remind us that we don't have all the answers. They challenge our understanding of history, science, and the very nature of reality. Which of these mysteries surprised you the most? Do you have a theory that could finally solve one of them? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're hungry for more mind-bending stories, be sure to check out our next video. Terrifying unsolved mysteries finally answered. Thanks for watching.